everybody, welcome. Welcome to a special spring break edition of our award-winning series, Projects with Foster. We've been working on the stairwell, but it's been so nice this spring break that I thought we should come outside and do a project outside. And it's probably one you're gonna do some point in your life. I had an email from a couple of you this week that really loved the last video, and a couple of you did your own projects. One of which, Gavin's mom says he can go outside if he's got a fence in the backyard. So he's gonna put some fence posts in the back and get out of the house finally. So we're gonna put in a fence post of a sort. I'm gonna show you how to level it up, how to pour the concrete, how to put the post in, and then we'll finish up and we'll talk about next week. So come on over, let me show you what we're doing here. It's not a whole fence post. All I need is a half a fence post, so I'm gonna put it in to about here. If this was a real 8-foot post, I'd want to put that, or 10-foot post probably, a couple feet into the ground, so that especially on a fence, something like that. This is going to be a little trellis. We got a nice sunny spot here. I want to grow some something up the side here. So we got our shovel. We're obviously going to have to dig a hole to put our post in, but really what we want is this little jewel. This is a post hole digger. Shove it down in. I'll have Helena show you here in a second, but we don't want a hole that's too big. It's going to take a whole lot of concrete. It's going to take a whole lot of work, and we don't need it. This isn't really structural. It's going to be attached to the house in 2 ways. So it's really just an aesthetic piece, but I want it to be well enough into the ground that I don't have to worry about it falling over. So those are most of our tools today. We're going to have a little torpedo level. We got our stakes already. We used our sledgehammer to put those in. We got a driver here. I'll show you what we're going to do. Post hole digger is a real simple tool. It's an ancient tool. There's better ones today that have handles that come out and you don't clack together, but Helena wants to show you how easy this is. She's going to switch over here and let me have the camera. Here's Helena, thank you. So you can see where we want our hole, right about there, where those posts are, where those stakes are. So you shove it in real good and then pull it apart, pick it up, and then don't lose the dirt and set it down. Now push them together, push them back together before you put it in so they're open. There you go. You can see it would only take you a week or two to dig a big enough hole for big fence post. She's doing great though. There you go. Anyone could do this. They make the big power auger that you could use. That's like a giant drill bit that goes down in. But those are kind of a weird tool, so I don't know if I'd want to use that. So we're digging our post hole here. I'll switch you back, hun. Nice work. I've drew a line on our post, how deep we want it. Before we put the post in, we want to add about 4 to 6 inches of gravel down in our hole. Make sure we've got this post sitting in there. We don't want it sitting in a puddle of water. Remember that end grain? It's going to want to soak that right up. You see the dimples on here. You can see this is treated, ground contact pressure treated, so that shouldn't rot, at least not in our lifetime. So if I check my hole here, that's the line I wanted to be. That's just about right. I'm going to go a little bit deeper before I put a little bit of gravel in the bottom. I don't need to worry too much about it. This is a pretty dry spot in my yard, but I want to make sure again it's deep enough that it won't fall over. All right, put a little bit of gravel in the bottom. There we go. We tamp that down. There we go. We take our post and we put that in there. So now comes tricky part. Really important when we're doing this, and especially if you're doing a fence or something, that you get this nice and vertical. So I've got my torpedo level here, and it's going to tell me when I'm level. So if you can come in closer here, Helena, so you can see the level. You got that bubble right there. It's got to be right in the middle. So what I'm going to do, I got to get it to that spot and then get it to hold there. So I'll show you what I've got. That's why these two stakes are here. I'm going to take a board like this. I already got my 2 screws started and my driver, and I'm going to drive it right into this board, just enough to stay. And then I'm going to get this guy up, and this is going to control my level this way. So here I am, I'm looking at that, getting it right where it needs to be. Needs to come back a little more. If I were doing this by myself and it was a big 8-footer, I might want to have a clamp to help me out, hold that. But once I got that level, now I shoot that screw in and it's not going anywhere. Double check it. Beautiful. Coming this way, I got the same thing. I'll take this post. I want this whole thing to move over a little. Should have thought of that earlier. I'm going to redo that one. Find my screw. Don't do that. There it is. Got it. All right, let's do this one because this one is further out. I would have had this already in here, but wanted you to see that. All right, so that's got to come a little further this way. This one controls it this way. Get my level. Line that up. Got my little clamp here, especially if I'm doing this by myself. It means I can take one hand off and still see what's going on. All right. A little bit on that. Trust your level, not your eye. Sometimes things don't look right, but they really are. All right, level that way. So again, come back, doing this way. All right, so I bring this around, find level, right there, get my screw in, there we go, ka-ching, ka-ching, I'm straight, I'm level. Now, what I need is to get my concrete in here. So we mixed up some concrete in our little tub here, starting to get a little dry. See how watery it is? We did that on purpose. We always keep a little bit extra in the sack so that at the very end you can mix a little bit more in, stir that up. Still want to be able to pour it. You don't want it too dry. There you go. Sometimes you go on this stuff and you find a little pocket and it's dry in the bottom. So there we are. I think we're ready to pour. We've probably got a little more than we need, but we're going to pour around our post here. Try not to get too much on us. Then we're going to go rinse our pan out. If you let it dry in there, it's kind of useless. So there we are. We got a fence post in. We got to tamp down our concrete around it. Again, if this were a bigger fence post, there's more danger of this thing swinging back and forth. You just want to make sure it's nice and level and square to what you're building. So there's your special spring break edition, Projects with Foster. This is a platinum only edition, so if you're not a platinum member, I'd appreciate it if you fast forward to the end. And we'll see you next week with the finish of the stairwells. Stay safe out there, stay home, do something, find a project, get busy, make something, and we'll see you next time. See ya.